Okay. What has surprised you most about this job?
The pace of it and the amount of public speaking. Some of it programmed and planned. Talking to a few hundred people at Fort Jackson. I don't know if that's today or tomorrow, but today or tomorrow. And other times when you pop in somewhere and, oh, the president's here, could you say a few words to us? It's every day, it's kind of, it's every day. I didn't anticipate how much of that there would be. I may have told you this before, but maybe not. I kind of pride myself in both being prepared and in public oratory, but you simply cannot be ahead of everything anymore, so I just get used to it. Keep a couple of stories here. I'm always thinking as I'm walking somewhere, well, what's new? What would they, if they ask me, what would they be interested in addition to Clowney, because it's always Mr. Clowney, and then other things. And then the pace. I think of older presidents who I know around the country, and I wonder how they do it. I'm talking, 70-year-old people, 67-year-old people, and I assume that they find a great deal of pleasure in it because the pace itself can drag you down. And so I think we talked about this before. The antidotes are, try to sleep well and enough, eat to the degree you can eat well, to the degree you can control it, have a good family relationship and friends, and keep a good attitude, and don't do your email late at night. Don't look at your email late at night.
If you had to talk about what maybe the next few years might bring to USC, what are we going to see in the way of changes here at the university? Some of which we know, some of which maybe we don't know.
Sure. Well, on a somewhat tangible side, we'll complete the faculty expansion that we've committed to. We will expand the amount of residential opportunities for freshmen and sophomores, so we could consider expanding the size of the class again. We're in a steady state until we can reinvest in the infrastructure to take care of them. That will continue. I'm very enthusiastic both about our rule of law initiative, which is, I believe, a great contribution to the United States of America, as well as to the Ronald E. McNair Center, which is a great contribution to the state of South Carolina. I think you'll see, if we get it right, you'll see a lot of development in those two areas. And then in a somewhat less, what I'll call programmatic or specific way, what I mentioned before, if I can contribute along with my fellow college presidents, public college presidents, to a serious dialogue with government about the funding of higher education, less hyperbole, less who's to blame, no finger pointing, but what is the right cost of education and how can we achieve it? We'll give something. We'll give something if there are metrics related to whatever it is, graduation rates or preparing students even better for the job market, or less borrowing, whatever it is they want to put on the table, we'll consider and respond to. We would put on the table keeping tuition and borrowing lower for students, diminishing the cost of onerous regulation when we can do that fairly, and other things like that. So I would take great pride if you interviewed me, whenever that would be, down the road, and say, well, do you think we've gotten to that? And if I could answer, yeah, we're really better off than we were in 2013, that would be greatly rewarding.
Are there any larger initiatives like come out of college, like on your time that you have?
There are. They're only half baked. They're not ready for the big feature spread, but they're not secretive either. And we probably talked about both, but one certainly is related to the possibility of a greater global presence of this university through online education. I'm excited about that. Working possibly with academic partnerships, the Dallas-based firm, and You may at some point want to speak with him down the road. Not for this, I'm sure, but I'm excited about bringing, without stretching the faculty's ability, without taking away from what we do here, but how wonderful it would be if we can contribute to the expanding presence of the university by offering either engineering or science or business courses around the world, and derive some revenue that we could plow back into our students here. That would be great. And our faculty, that'd be great. And the second area that I was going to mention beyond the global presence, I think, is continuing to look at the state's K through 12 well-being. You asked me about this before. We're not, summertime's not usually the time to make huge amounts of progress, but I need to be very careful not to engage the university in a dead-end project. It'd be great, and we'd get a headline for saying we're here to help. But if I'm not convinced that we can be productive and keep things within what we really can do and it really matter, I'd rather not try. But I'm still very hopeful at this point, as I told you before, that we'll develop one or more ideas of how the university can really contribute to that. That'd be immensely personally gratifying and also, I think, highly appropriate for the well-being of the university. I'm not 100% sure we'll come up with that right idea, but we're going to work on it.
Okay. How much longer do you think you'll want to be in the seat?
Well, you never want to, I never want to know the answer to that until right before, because I think it would change my attitude, maybe diminish some energy. I've never been in a countdown. There will be a countdown when I'm ready, but I'll try to make that kind of a 10, 9, 8, 7 done rather than a X years to go. So I really don't know that, but I don't mind saying I'm very content. Both the plans of Jim Barker and Ray Greenberg, as you might imagine, have not weighed on me, but made me pause and reflect. I spoke to President Greenberg not too long ago, and you feel at a sense, wow, gee, he's lucky. He's going to get to try something new. He'd been here for a long time, try something new. How might I feel about that? But that feeling comes and passes, and ultimately I'm very content and secure. The work is not done. So I can never say there'll not be another job, but it's I think it's dangerous, really, for myself to be too secure and too knowledgeable in knowing when that will be.
When will you know that it's time?
Well, between Patricia and I think we'll know. From experience now and talking to others, sometimes it's the spouse who takes the lead. And then the president might follow a little bit, and sometimes it's the president. It would probably be some combination either of fatigue, you might call it fatigue, or I've been trying to do this for years, it's not happening, maybe I've given it my best shot. I anticipate it would be something. But I'll be honest with you too, in the other transitions I've made, it was never out of burning out. It was always because there was some other opportunity that was kind of too good to pass up, but I'm certainly don't see that in front of me right now.
My last question is this your last job? I mean, is this a situation where do you see yourself being a president of another university and it's just a matter of how long maybe you want to be in this chair?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't covet being the president of a different university, though. What I do occasionally think about are my passions in public health. I look at, for example, what Bill Gates and his great team, what they're doing in terms of solving a public health problem around the world. That really makes me kind of wake up and say, wouldn't that be great? And being part of a team like that. I think about access to higher education, and I think, isn't there after this time, isn't there something I could contribute, not only to one university, but to all universities? Isn't there a foundation or a donor group? It would be awfully nice to be giving money away rather than to be begging for it. That would be a fun thing to think about. But I certainly don't covet or spend much time thinking about being the president of another university. This is the one I love.
And there's no retirement age in your head, like, I want to do this, I want to
No,
work until I'm 60?
no, but I just don't want to be a tired, bedraggled president. I don't want to be shuffling around and people saying he's a good guy. I don't want to be that. I want to be at the top of my game. Maybe 92% of my game still works, but I don't want to be at 70% of my game and saying, I love my job. I'll do this forever, when people around you are saying, I knew him when he was at the top of his game, and he's not at the top of his game. I'm going to leave before that.